Hi there, in this Lightboard session we're going to talk about Maven and how it works with Studio and your project. Now, Studio comes with an embedded Maven, and Maven's job is primarily to help you build the archive that is used to deploy. So Maven works around a file called the POM file, so it's pom.xml. And in that POM file, there's various things like the name of your project, the organization you're part of. You can even put the developers' names in there if you like. A lot of people don't. The important part from a build perspective is that there is a dependencies tag. And inside that, that's where any archives that need to come from somewhere else, managed by Maven, that's where you specify those. So when you fire up your project initially, it will build this POM file, put some default values in there, and by default, it's going to have some stuff around a dependency for the HTTP connector, and also sockets. Now these are just built in by default, and what Maven does as part of its build is for every line that you have a dependency in the POM file, it looks for these in what we call a repository. A repository is a set of archives or set of artifacts that are stored on a server somewhere. So you may have many of these repos or repositories. Some might be external, some could be internal to your organization. And Maven's job is to look at the list of repositories that it's allowed to look in and find this artifact and version. So each of these has a version. So that version is something that will change over time as bug fixes or changes are made to the functionality. And the idea is that you would then go in and refresh the version that you're pointing to so that you're up to date. So that's how it finds it. It uses repositories, the artifact name and the version to go and find those. Now, where do you see this? Well, unless you're watching quickly, in Studio, when you go to run your application, it performs two tasks. The first is to run Maven to build the archive, and then the second is to fire up the embedded Mule runtime. So the first one is the part where it's going to try and resolve all of these artifacts, these dependencies, external libraries, bring them down, cache them locally in a local repository so that it can then build it into the archive. Now, it needs to build those into the archive because the Mule runtime needs all of that to have been worked out ahead of time. It cannot go out and search repositories. It has one task, which is to run your application and provide all of that stuff. So its job is not to do what Maven does. And as far as Maven, integrated into Studio, so unless you want to use your external one, it's a fairly low-touch part of the ecosystem that you're using. And that's how Maven works with your project.